Well, tonight's video and maybe the next couple are going to be Dodge motor rebuild videos. And I kind of came out in the garage tonight and got started on something. I had some parts show up. Never mind that bolt mess, I was looking for something. I got some parts in the box. I got my main bearings, main studs, just some miscellaneous stuff. So I can actually start putting the rotating assembly together. But I decided tonight I wanted to take that good 6.1 crank and start polishing it up, cleaning it up, get it ready to go. And fighting with that thing on the workbench is kind of a pain in the butt. So I'm going to show you what I made for free out of some scrap stuff laying around. And actually it's working pretty slick. I actually started kind of working on the crank already. But I'll show you what I made here, and then we'll get going on actually polishing the crank and one other use for the crank stand. So here's what we got going on. It's an old piece of shelf material I had laying around and two pieces of pallet wood. I basically took an 8-inch piece and drilled a 2 1/4, I think I used 2 1/4 inch hole saw right in the middle, and then cut it in half and then trimmed them down. So I got two pieces with some roundness to them. And then that's just black Kydex plastic in there with one screw in each holding it in there. And that screw is actually countersunk. There's actually oil sitting in there right now. That screw is actually countersunk below the surface of the Kydex, the plastic. So that plastic just kind of sits on the crank and the oil just kind of helps it spin while I'm kind of working on it. And then we just got our clamp to the bench. And then there's a metal strip along the back edge. We'll get to that in a minute. So I'll bear you the agony of watching me actually just sit here for hours on end polishing a crank. And kind of like what I did on the bike motor is I'm not polishing for like a mirror finish here. I should call it more of cleaning than polishing. But this thing did sit in the guy's garage for a little while, and he kept it oiled pretty good, but it just needs some cleanup. Like there's a little spot right there. That'll come out though. But I got myself worked through to about this point right here. And we'll keep working on this, but I figured I was listening to some tunes and getting working here. I thought I'd do a quick video on kind of the status of how this is going and show you again free crank stand. And I'm going to show you now what that metal strip for is in the back. Let's say that again, what that metal strip is for in the back. Now, this isn't a super big deal or overly complicated, but with that metal strip in the back, I can use my magnetic base dial indicator, and I can actually check to see if the crank is bent at all. So as long as the crank is supported on two journals, we got here and here, and those are actually spaced out enough that I can actually pick the crank up and move it over one journal. So I'll be able to put the front main on there, then I can polish that one. Same thing, I can put the rear main on there, polish that one, or clean. But yeah, so now I can actually move that to any one particular main. I can't really check rods, for roundness, other than just to mic them, which I probably said that wrong. I can check those with a mic, not with that. There. But we can check to see if the crank's bent at any one particular point. And yeah, so now I'll show you how we check for a banana bend crank. You can see we're all set up here. I got my indicator is zeroed. So what I'm going to do is take and just spin the crank nice and slow. Watch, the only movement we get is actually from me bumping everything. So this crank is definitely not bent, which is good. I wasn't expecting it, but like I said, it's just fun to be able to find different ways to check things and just kind of get peace of mind to confirm that things are good when you're buying used parts, because I deal with a lot of used parts. Also, I am going to go ahead and go through this crank and actually chamfer all these oil passages real quick. These I already got a little. There's not much on there from the factory. Let's see if I can find there. There's a factory one. There's not much there, so we're just going to add a little more of a chamfer to it, give that oil a chance to get moving. Rods, there's nothing, so we'll add a little bit to that. That just kind of helps with the oil flow. So as I work my way down, I'll probably touch those up. So it's getting late, and I'm only, about halfway done with that crank. So I'm going to probably look at the clock here. Yeah, I think I'm just going to wrap it up, head inside, get something to eat. But things are going to start out kind of slow as I'm definitely cleaning a lot of used parts here. But as things get clean and parts start showing up, we'll start gaining some ground. I'm still going to dump some methanol in that thing and fire it back up. I did oil change on it, actually. Dumped the first oil out of it, and pulled the pan and the filter apart. And other than like the typical like debris or just like junk, I've actually seen little bits of like blue rag. I don't know where that would have came from, but just little fuzzies in there. Other than that, no metal material, no metallic, no gold. So we definitely aren't mining for gold. But yeah, everything looked really good at the first oil change. So we'll fill her back up and switch her over to meth, and I'll keep heat cycling as I get time. But for now, I'm going to sign off on the crank project. Tomorrow, hopefully, I can start cleaning on the block, which is still just kind of hanging out over here. So we'll see how getting that block clean. The weather's nice, so I'm going to hopefully be able to get that on the engine stand, go out in the driveway outside and clean it and everything. And then, see, I got pistons coming. I'm still kind of going back and forth what rods I want to run. So there's a whole, build process that's going to go on with this thing. And we might get to a point where I've already discovered some things are not in stock with all this part shortages and stuff that are going on. So bear with me as I kind of bounce around, and some of these videos might be shorter as I just do like one thing when I got time to do it as I'm waiting for crap to show up. But yeah, hopefully you dug the little, crank setup, and you should probably go polish your crank. I said it. See you later.